What is going on, everybody? Contrast paint is sweeping the nation. I picked up about 13 of them. I had a chance to buy them at midnight on Friday. I painted with them all day Saturday at the game store and ended up buying about 6 more that night, giving me a total of 13 now. Mostly picking up the browns, some of the blues and purples, some reds, but a lot of the browns and flesh tones. Pretty excited about them. They are very fun to use, and this is going to be my attempt at a more in-depth first impression. I did another video I did a couple videos about them, and I'll probably do some more in the future, hopefully when we can show what we're working on with maybe like a top-down. But if you can see this at all, here is a beholder, all contrast paint except for the teeth so far, and I feel like he's got a good sense of lighting. He's dark from below, he's brighter on top, so he'll be up for sale on eBay when he's done. And that is doing mixing contrast paints, the purple and pink, to try to create like a blend or a fade. We got this guy here I'm testing out. He is the Reaper Bones Frost Giant Guard, and I know it's like always impossible for you guys to see these, but there are some cool effects. If you see his cloak here, it's got kind of a cool fade, and his greaves or calf protectors, and his beard. Pretty funny, right? He's my mascot. He'll be up for sale on eBay too. But with him, I'm trying out basically 2 coats straight from the pot on every color I try. This guy, I'm trying layers of colors. And then these guys, I'm kind of trying a mix of whatever I like the best. And so far, my first impressions are they're very, very cool. I highly recommend you pick them up. And pick them up in the mindset that you're about to add like a bunch of new colors of washes to your paint set, your toolbox, or whatever you call it. I think you're going to like them a lot. Thinking of them as a wash, you're basically like a GW wash where you're going to tint the surface plus darken the recesses. I think there's a lot of play there with those products. Like, they're super good. They do find the recesses very well. I do have to say, so far I have only tried them on zenithal primed with black, gray, and white primer on the same model, and I am now actually kind of curious. I don't want to buy that $20 rattle can of GW primer, but I am actually curious to just test it straight how they recommend it, right over their own primer, and just see if, the experience is different. I highly recommend you pick up Technical Contrast Medium. If you're looking at these as washes or glazes and not just one and done coats, this is going to make your life even better because you can thin these things way down. They thin beautifully, just a beautiful, like, I was going to say creamy, but that's not even the case. They're kind of more like a gel like substance. I don't know how to explain it, but this is a must have if you are using these products as washes or glazes. Probably not needed if you're just gonna literally slap a color down and say that's the blue armor, and then slap a brown on and say those are the pants, vice versa, like that. I did test out my favorite matte medium, AK Ultra Matte varnish, linked below on Amazon. It's so good, and I think you're gonna be really amazed once I get some pictures up on my Instagram after I finish some of these models and hit it with that matte coat. It makes these contrast paints look like you put in a lot more work than you did. And I'm talking a zenithal prime from black to white, grayscale, with 1 coat of contrast paint. And I'll probably do one little kind of layer of highlight, just either like a tap kind of highlight, or a crosshatch, which is how I like highlighting models lately. I got this girl here. This is a 1 coat blue, Talisar blue, I believe it's called, on her cloak. 2 coats of Gilliman flesh on her skin. Not getting the full good skin effects yet, but it's super fun. I think I'm gonna a lot of times my skin effects look a lot like as if I just painted Reichland flesh shade or Agax shade over a flesh tone, which I then did try on a base, which you probably can't see at all, but they basically that was a flesh tone with Gilliman flesh over it, and basically just worked like a wash. So that's pretty cool. We're still going to work on that, and that's one thing I'm curious about with the new Wraithbone or Gray Seer rattle cans, is if those flesh tones just work perfect right over top of those. That'll be an interesting experiment, because I found anyway, the black, gray to white Zenithal Prime was just, the black was too dark for the flesh tones, and the gray didn't work, and you had to do 2 coats to get it to do anything. For example, on his arm, where it was black, it stayed pretty black, and then you can see this is with 2 coats. The Gilliman glaze gets very dark with 2 coats, but then again, this is over black and gray and white primer. So curious to see maybe a little more true to the primers. I also have some Mecha primers. I have Vallejo primers. I have, Stynal Res. I have colored Stynal Res I want to try. And what I'm really excited about with these products is I want to nail down a color scheme using a good portion of it with airbrush, then a coat of contrast, and then work on highlights and details of my Slaanesh army. So I think I'm going to give myself like a little challenge that I'm probably not going to buy. I know I'm saying probably, which is basically like setting myself up for failure, but quick tip, if you ever want to quit smoking, don't say I'm going to try to quit smoking. Just change your language and tell yourself I'm going to quit smoking on whatever day that you decide. It helps. But probably I don't know. I haven't said this out loud yet, so it's odd, right? I've been thinking about this in my head. So my plan is the money I spend on miniatures will be money I make from selling painted miniatures. I'm going to try that, I think, for a month or so. So, I can still buy contrast paint and stuff, but like the new AdMech tank, for that, to pick that up when that comes out, AdMech's my favorite. I'm looking at I should probably sell something or a couple things of equal value painted, and make a little profit off the paint, use the profit to basically buy some models for myself. But another thing I'm brainstorming with is maybe like, don't buy anything new until you paint 50 Slaanesh models, right? Which sounds like a lot, but a demon army's like a lot of models. You might have, hiccups. You might have 60 or 90 of the troops. You might have 20, 30, 40 cavalry for the demonette seekers. And then you'll spend a lot more time on the characters, obviously. But I think the contrast paints are going to be a big win. I was going to probably be doing like a colored base, Zenithal with colored base coats through the airbrush. And I'm still going to try to figure that out. But instead of hitting it with the wash, I'm going to try to probably hit it all with contrast paints and see how that works out. And then, go back in and hit all the details. And then I'm telling you, once you cover it with this ultra matte varnish, it's not contrast paint anymore. It doesn't look like that shiny, goopy glaze that you put all over it and then you're seeing on Instagram right now. Like, when you put that over it, you're getting basically just a nice scale of color, a value scale. I don't imagine you can see this, but if you can, the brown pant leg, can you tell that the brown pant leg is not glossy, but the rest of them is? So that's because that was a test of the ultra matte varnish, and it just gives it such a matte coat that it looks totally different than the paint. And I think no matter what you use, you're going to want to varnish these with either a satin, a matte, or the ultra matte. But I think you're going to be very surprised once you see over on my Instagram what these models start looking like once they've been matte coated. It's just, I only tested on one little spot. I'm very excited to try more. I'll probably make a video about it. I've been hyping up this AK Ultra Matte. Listen, it's already pre-thinned, ready for the airbrush. It's beautiful. So I think for sure you're going to want to, don't get involved in the the hate train of contrast paints. You know, everybody's pumped about them. They're selling their paint collection and going all contrast, and everybody else says they look like crap. Think of them as just like 30 or 40 or however many colors are, just like 30 new awesome washes. And I highly, highly recommend playing with them because they have been super fun. I've gotten a lot done. Today is Monday, so I painted a lot on Saturday, a lot on Sunday, and quite a bit today. So, and I'm gonna do some more. It's about probably 2 in the morning, and I'll probably paint for another 2 hours. So definitely check it out. Definitely check out the links below if you want to check out any of the products on Amazon or eBay. Check out my eBay store if you want to pick up a miniature. Please subscribe. We broke 1,000, so we're big time, you know. And talk to y'all soon. Keep painting those miniatures.